Mr. President, dear members of the International Peace Prize Committee, Mr. Kasalowski, Mr. Katlos, I'm so honored to be with you, even not physically, but at least in a virtual way. And I want to talk to you today, being very honored by having been awarded this prize, but I want to talk to you not in a very formalistic way. I talk out of my heart. It will be like a fireside chat where I express some of my personal history and also some of my concerns for the future. Peace is for me a very relevant word. I have been born in Germany in 1938, and I still experience the devastation war can create. I remember as a small child how I was sitting in our shelter with my teddy bear, not understanding why people really go into war. Now, after 75 years, we have seen a peaceful development of Europe, of course also being advanced and boosted by the fall of the wall. It was a good time the last 50 years. For me, when I grew up, the motto was never war again in Europe. And I led the German-French movement. I experienced how important it is among European people to be in dialogue, to understand the richness of the European cultures, and to create our own identity on the basis of unity in diversity. Now today, I'm worried because peace is not anymore so being taken for granted. And this happens on two levels. First, on a global level, and second, of course, on a national level. We have seen the rise of conflicts around the world. We have seen particularly polarization around the world on a global and on a national level. Of course, we have to fight the pandemic. And we have seen all the devastating effects the pandemic has had on our well-being, on our economic well-being, but also on our psychological well-being. In a pandemic, when you are threatened, you don't know what the impact on your health, on the health of your relatives, on your livelihood would be. It's natural to become much more egoistic. So, me first has become a kind of national motto, not only in the United States, but all over the world. And I see this me first with particular concern also rising in Europe. When I grew up and I was fighting for this new European identity, it was very clear. I was first European and second I was German. But today, what we see in Europe evolving is that people first think again in national terms, in national identities, and the European identity has become some kind of a secondary dimension, very useful, but people have forgotten to a certain extent how much important it is to feel as part of a European community. If we look at Europe, it's around 5% of global population. We still are the second or maybe even first economic power, or at least trading power. And we will have an influence only if we recognize that our strengths comes not from being apart, but from acting together, being part of what we call the European community. If we look at the national level, of course we see everywhere this polarization. People very concerned about preserving what they have, not necessarily anymore thinking about building the future, but being in a much more defensive mode. And this, of course, we see everywhere, and it's accentuated and accelerated by the social media. Now, if I look at the biggest challenges which we have to confront, particularly in order to overcome this polarization, I think we have to make sure that we build societies which are more resilient, more inclusive, and more sustainable. We have seen already before the pandemic hit us, we have seen there were deficiencies, there were inconsistencies in our economic and political systems. We have seen a growing disparity. We have seen growing gaps between those who have and those who don't have on a global and on a national level. We have seen how we destroy our natural environment. And we all recognize that this is not sustainable. Now, the pandemic has even shown us much more how we are interdependent, how those deficiencies have come to the force, and we have no time to lose to address those issues. And we can do so only if we stick together on a global and on a national, and I should add, on a European level. The pandemic has shown us that even if some people say we are now in the age of deglobalization, but actually we are much more interdependent, much more interconnected than ever before. Viruses do not know borderlines, and this could be said for many, many issues. We have to create this great reset, which I described in my book last year. We have to create this great reset together. So if I go in detail into the challenges, first, global warming. I see three key challenges. Global warming, to master the fourth industrial revolution, and of course to create higher social inclusion. Let me go into each of those challenges in more detail. So climate change. We have seen the natural disasters. We have seen already rising temperatures in the world. And so is now a small window of opportunity where we can reset our policies. And I'm very encouraged because it's not only bad news. We have seen the commitments of practically all governments around the world to be carbon neutral by 2050, in the case of China, which has a more difficult challenge in 2060. So we have those commitments, but we have the commitments also on a corporate level. I see it among the partners of the World Economic Forum. Every company today is thinking what has to be done to reduce its environmental footprint. I think this is necessary because the young generation does not want to work anymore for companies which destroy the nature. people do not want to buy products anymore from companies of whom they know that they are detrimental to our well-being. And even investors today are very well aware of their responsibility, and impact investment today amounts to $1 trillion. So to be green, to invest in green companies, to buy green products is not only something which we should do for the sake of nature and for the sake of our next generations, of our children. I think it's in our self-interest. It's in our self-interest if we want to lead successful companies. Now, the second big challenge which we have to master is to use the new technologies in a human-centered way. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, the Internet of Things. I wrote a book 4 years ago, and I actually coined this notion of the fourth industrial revolution. If I look back at the contents of my book, many things which I described 4 years ago were considered to a certain extent as science fiction and have become reality today. We saw how much digitalization or an acceleration of digitalization happened during the pandemic, creating even the possibility, as we do now, to work together in virtual ways. But look also at the development of the vaccines. It was developed in 340 days from the moment the first money was invested to the moment we had the vaccine. So a tremendous acceleration of the forces of the fourth industrial revolution. I just would like to recall the first industrial revolution. It happened when the steam engine was created. And it was mainly the United Kingdom, Great Britain at that time, which led this revolution. The second revolution brought us electricity and mass production. The third industrial revolution brought us the computer and computing. And now we are in the fourth industrial revolution. It's not just one technology, it's a whole range of technologies. I said in the book which I wrote, it's a fusion of our physical, of our digital, and of our biological lives. Now, the big difference of this fourth industrial revolution is not only that it entails many different technologies, but the speed of the revolution is much faster, which means our ways of life are much faster affected and changed. Now, the big challenge which we have is to adapt in terms of our skills. The World Economic Forum did a research, and we said that about half of the present professions, professional activities, have to be reskilled or upskilled in the next 10 years. So one of the big challenges, and also as a precondition to create social stability, is to create the jobs for tomorrow. I would argue that competition tomorrow is not anymore taking place in terms of let's say, lower costs. It's mainly carried out on the basis of being in the top line of applying new technologies. But we have to make sure that those technologies serve humankind. And for this reason, we need global cooperation to develop the necessary ethical standards, but also policy frameworks. The recent discussion, which we have seen in Australia, the conflict between Facebook and a government, is just one sign of the conflictual forces which are put to the force by the fourth industrial revolution. We have to make sure that all those technologies are framed in the appropriate manner. And please, believe me, I feel those technologies can be a big enhancer of our well-being. It can be a big problem solver in addressing, for example, the environmental challenges which we have. So my advice to everybody is make sure that you are at the top, and this advice, of course, is also particularly given to countries, to governments. Make sure that you are at the top of technological development, and this means to prepare for the skills which we need tomorrow. Now the third big challenge, in my opinion, is of course to preserve social coherence. And here, again, skills, jobs are necessary because social coherence is mainly based on having sufficient dignified jobs, but we also probably will have to see in terms of fiscal policies, of monetary policies, and so on, structural policies, educational policies. All those policies have to be directed towards creating social cohesion, towards creating a more homogeneous society. Now, this all implies also a new philosophy, I would say a new ideology. The ideologies which we usually refer to, like socialism, capitalism, communism, and so on, are actually consequences of the first industrial revolution. Today we live in a different time, and that's the reason why those philosophies have lost attractivity, those ideologies, and do not serve anymore for many people to define our own identity. So, in my opinion, the new ideology we should adhere to is captured by the word stakeholder capitalism, which means it is a kind of fusion between state capitalism and pure shareholder capitalism. In state capitalism, one act of the state determines everything. And particularly in a very competitive environment, state capitalism will lose out because it doesn't rely on the innovativeness of individual people and individual free acting companies being engaged into a very competitive race. And on the other hand, shareholder capitalism, if we serve only the short-term interest of profit maximization for shareholders, it's not sustainable because it just increases the gap which we see inside society. So what does it mean? Stakeholder capitalism, and I just published a book, so you may see more of my thoughts and maybe also more scientifically explained in this book. why I'm, since 50 years, such a fighter for stakeholder capitalism. Stakeholder capitalism means that a business serves not only shareholders, but it serves people and it serves the planet. And this is the reason why the undertitle of this book is a global economy that works for progress, prosperity, it works for people, and it works for the planet. Now, this stakeholder responsibility has not only to be applied to corporations, it has to be applied to society as a whole, and particularly also governments. A government should not be measured only in terms of how they produce economic wealth, measured by increase in GDP. Governments have to be measured also in terms of principles of governments. How good is the government? How trustworthy is the government? How much is the government really serving its people? How much is the government serving also nature, or at least maintaining our natural environment? In the context of this stakeholder concept, governments have also a new role. Governments are stakeholders of the society. They have, in many aspects, a lead role, a structuring role, but governments have to be role models. They have to be trustworthy. And trustworthiness comes from complete integrity and comes from this sense of serving. So, dear participants, we are living in a new world which requires new thinking, in a world where we will maintain, hopefully, peace by cultivating this notion of community, which is encapsulated, by the way, in the stakeholder concept. Always feeling that we are part of a whole, and we have not to serve only our own interests, but at the end, we have to serve the community interests. And there might be short-term conflicts, but at the end, I think to keep the whole community in our minds will serve us best. Thank you.